No, it was critical as a starting point to get the strategy right. I often say that it's 90% execution and 10% strategy. But if you get the strategy wrong, it doesn't help you with the execution. So the focus strategy was a foundation for turning the company around, where we made commitments to increase our R&D, build to reach technology leadership. We focused on rebuilding our market position, and we needed to take out costs to become more efficient. And that's been a foundation for what we do. Our key competitive advantage, I believe, is technology leadership and our commitment to lead our customers from 4G into 5G. And that we can see with, for example, that we were very early on making our hardware 5G capable. So already in 2015, so hardware shipped from 2015 can, with a software upgrade, run 5G NR traffic. And now we're launching our unique Ericsson spectrum sharing, which allows the operator to dynamically allocate spectrum between 4G and 5G, which allows for a very rapid build-out of 5G. So with these type of thought leadership, it's really important for us, and you know, it's important for us to work with lead customers, but that's also why lead customers work with us. What's clear is the technology is available. So for example, we have commercial networks in North America since Q4 last year or October last year. We have networks up and running on mid-band in Europe, but we also have that in Australia. So we have networks already available, so the operators can get that. The big problem in Europe is, however, an investment climate. So we see that, for example, on 4G coverage, which today is much lower than North America and Northeast Asia, for example. So it's back to the whole investment climate. That shows up in high spectrum fees. So if we look at some of the auctions, they are designed to maximize the fee paid for spectrum, not necessarily maximize the best for the economy of driving a mobile network. So you have that, you have heavy regulation, but you also have a very fragmented market. So look at China, 3 operators, India, 3 operators, North America, on the way toward 3 operators. We'll see if the merger gets approved, but it's 3 operators. And in Europe, basically every market has at least 4 operators, even how small they are. So in total in Europe, someone said it's about 200 or 220 operators. So I don't think we get the scale necessary to really drive new technology, and that's a big risk for the continent. And we see the industrial IoT, massive IoT, critical IoT, and broadband IoT. And I think it's going to be different depending on market, which ones get priority. So different markets will roll out in a different way. Probably, if we take China, for example, they are investing very heavily towards the industrial IoT. And we see that, for example, in our own factory in China, where we were very early on put basically a device on every screwdriver, and actually thereby tracking when do we need to substitute the screwdriver, when do they lose the ability to see, to detect the momentum they're screwing with, etc. So you get a better uptime on your screwdrivers. The return on investment on that has been more than 200%. So basically in 6 months you have a payback on using IoT on the screwdriver. That's just a small example of indication, but those are really starting to catch up. And we're seeing those, that's what we try to do with the demos out here, show some areas where we think this is going to happen.
And but that was just one. Do you think the focus will be more on industrial IoT? Is that where you think the most?
I think that's where you see at least the early payback. But you can see other areas, could be, for example, remote servicing. You use augmented reality. So a service engineer would, instead of traveling with a a book to basically go through to detect faults would actually have projected that on his augmented reality glasses, which by the way are similar to what I have on right now. So it's very light, it's going to be a very different setup. So it's going to take a few years, but I think we are just on the verge of all of those type of business cases, use cases.
Brilliant.
What the notion is here is that what we are trying to do is future-proof our customers' investments. What that means is they should always be able to go from 4G into the 5G world and do that cost efficiently. So one part is the radio platform, where they can, with a software upgrade, become 5G capable, so they can carry NR traffic. But also with the core, so the core is a dual mode core, it can carry 4G traffic and it can carry 5G traffic. And then the whole orchestration layer needs also to accommodate both 4G and 5G end to end, and that's what we're trying to do with our new platform. Ultimately, we believe in a zero-touch network, basically, which will require a lot of automation. But it will also require you to be proactive in maintenance or in fault detection. Instead of reacting to an incident, you actually predict it in advance and adjust in advance, seamlessly. That's what we're trying to do now, using the data we have from network operations. We have almost 1 billion subscribers that we manage globally. By using that database, we can start to be much more predictive in the way we run the network. And that's going to ultimately make a big difference for our customers. What we saw, we had allocated most of our R&D into a future platform. And we have a large installed base. And we needed to keep the installed base in a way with a future-proof solution as well, in the same way we do with the 5G hardware, right? So we needed to invest much more money into our existing platform. So we're in a way diverting R&D money from a future platform into making the current platform upgradable to the future instead. And we believe that's a much better strategy for us, but it's really a much better strategy for all our customers. You know, our billing solutions and charging solutions are in 350 customers globally. So of course for us we need to protect their investments, right? And that's where we're allocating money instead. Yeah, it's critical. 5G will depend on the ecosystem. It's no need having a network if there are no handsets and no applications. So getting the whole ecosystem to come together, spectrum availability, infrastructure, handsets, devices, applications, as that come together, that's going to drive 5G penetration. Now, we have had a number of insights there, but we see, for example, which I think is interesting, 4G is a long-living technology. So, for example, it's going to be, 60% of the subscriptions will still be 4G in 5 years. So that's going to still remain the important access technology. But actually, what's equally interesting is we foresee about 1.5 billion 5G subscription in 5 years.
Oh, okay.
And that's of course going to happen in North America, primarily in Asia and partly in Europe. But it's actually a sizable number of subscribers. And that is, I think, quite interesting. No, we need to keep our leading position in 5G. That's really important. But we're also now, given that we have strengthened the company a lot, we're a lot stronger company today, we have an opportunity to start growing as well. So we are going to go for more profitable and disciplined growth, and that's where we see that in our existing business, but also in new applications, for example in IoT. So we're quite excited about where we're standing right now, coming through a turnaround.